All right, these answer choices tell me that this question might be a little bit more complex than others that we've dealt with so far. I can see that punctuation is changing, so that's important, but also we're changing the wording, right? But is a conjunction, and conjunctions have a special purpose. With a comma, a conjunction can be used to add two sentences together. So that's maybe what's going on with choice D, is that might be two sentences that we're joining. Instead of using a semicolon or a period, we're just using this kind of other method that you use all the time, probably in your own writing, of using a comma with a conjunction. Now, it doesn't mean that it's right. There are other things that conjunctions can do. So there is a world in which B could be right, where that conjunction is less about joining two sentences and more about joining two ideas, two fragments in some way. It's hard to think about how that might work with a word like but it's still possible. It's also possible we don't need the conjunction at all, and there's ways of joining the sentence that are kind of already there because we just need a comma, or maybe there's no way to join them. Maybe it's just one sentence and there's no joining of anything, so we don't need the but or the comma, and so C could be right as well. It just means that we got to think about the structure of the sentence as we go through the sentence. So let's see. Human-made synthetic fibers used in clothes and many other consumer products are more durable than most natural plant fibers. The manufacture of synthetic fibers requires toxic chemical solvents that can pollute air and water. So I basically read A. I did take a breath there. I did take a pause, but it wasn't because A includes a comma. It was more because that just felt like a place where the sentence was over, right? So let me just highlight as I read. We do have two sentences here. Human-made synthetic fibers used in clothes and many other consumer products are more durable than most natural plant fibers. Okay, so end. We could put a period right there. That is a sentence, right? And there's a lot of adjectives here, so it feels like we could get lost here. We could shorten it. Human-made fibers are more durable than most natural plant fibers. That's basically the sentence. Human-made fibers are more durable than most natural plant fibers. Period. We could end it right there. Now, ignoring the word but, right? Because if it's there, it's only used to join the sentences. It doesn't like kind of need to be there as far as the second sentence goes. So let's read the second sentence. The manufacture of synthetic fibers requires toxic chemical solvents that can pollute air and water. That's its own thing. That could just start with a capital T and end with a period and be its own sentence. We don't need to join them. So if a period were an option, fibers period, then that would probably be the best way to go. It's just joining the two sentences without actually joining them. It's just using a period to separate them out. But we don't have that option. And so because we have these two sentences, there are very limited ways to actually merge them into one sentence, right? So we have two independent clauses, but we can merge them into one sentence, and that requires both, like I said, the conjunction and the comma. So to be clear, A would be a run-on sentence. Even though they sound okay, just without the word but. It's not grammatically okay if we write them that way with just a comma connecting them. That's not strong enough as a punctuation mark to do the job on its own. We would need a period, we need a semicolon, we need something else. The comma by itself is not enough. Same thing with B, the conjunction by itself is not enough. Again, there are situations where conjunctions like but and can be used without a comma, because in those cases they're not being used to join two sentences. But in this case they are. So in this case, the but needs help. It can't work on its own. C is wrong because we need some sort of break here, and that leaves us with D, which kind of merges A and B together and is a valid way to connect two sentences. We use the conjunction, but we also use that comma to show together that there's a break in the sentence, and we have two independent clauses that we're merging together. So it's great that it's a but. It does have that contrast, but that wasn't really what was tested here. I don't really care about the but versus an and. It's much more just about the structure of what's going on. So we do need to memorize this rule here that D relates back to. There are only a limited number of ways to join sentences on the SAT, because in real life, we could reword everything. We could put everything in different places to kind of make two sentences into one if we wanted to. But on the SAT, since that blank is so narrow, we're going to have a limited number of options that can even work in that blank to join the two sentences. So conjunction and a comma is a big one. Period, semicolon, those are also ways to join two sentences. So basically, those three are the ones we're going to see again and again. And very rarely are we going to see them all in the same question, because they're different branches, they're different paths we can take. So we can't have them all in one question because they're all basically equal. It really just depends on the question itself, which path they've decided to take, and then we need to make sure we follow that same path if we can show that there are two sentences, two independent clauses that need to be merged together.